and get I don't want to. I just want to be in there.
I know.
Can we all get round to it?
They're on a.
Just some distance. Yeah.
They're on a time frame for 5.
Let me look out here first.
Well, we didn't have a copy of this review in advance, so we're responding just the same way you are, based on the summary that was provided. I would say generally, I think what's been lost sight of here is that something that we all knew back in the spring, which is that there was a concerted campaign over a period of 6 months to put a certain blogger who's standing here out of business. That's the way it looks. Certainly that was the public perception at that time. And that's not exactly what we heard this afternoon. And I think if you know the story goes back to the summer of 2009, the incident in front of the nightclub. The officer who then stops Charles in the summer of 2011 is one of the officers who was on film at that time. So it unfolds from there. To me, it seems like this isn't about whether things were done properly or not properly. I mean, obviously things were not done properly. We lost a police chief here. Maybe we forgot to talk about that, but somebody thought something wasn't going so great because we've lost the police chief in the process. So what do we want to see? Well, the comments of the CCLA, the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, has been following this issue. They've been very supportive. And they had some comments on the radio this morning. They suggest that, and this is, we agree, what we want out of this is some sense of vindication for Charles, some recognition that he was the one who was the victim here. Clearly he was the victim. Nobody had any question about that up until now. He was the one who had 8 people on the kill list. He was the one who lost his computer for 3 months. He's still suffering some of the psychological impacts of that. And talking about what freedom of speech, that's another issue that has happened here. There was a significant potential for chilling effect on freedom of speech from the actions of the police service. I think people recognize that. Something else the CCLA mentioned this morning and that I'd like to see down the road is some recognition in the form of damages for the breach of Charles's charter rights. And it would be good if people started to pay attention and we actually took Section 301 off the books. I know that that's something that lawyers in a number of jurisdictions across Canada are interested in. So,
Why keep competition?
that's something that we'll be talking. We're getting advice from the CCLA and others about whether that's appropriate. But certainly, it's on the table, and so is the issue of a complaint, for example, into the computer search. We want to know what was searched on the computer. We feel we have a right to know that.
Why didn't your client talk to Mr. Richard?
It ended up, well, there were a couple of factors, but I think the most significant, I guess, was he felt that he needed to be represented in order to fully enter into the discussion on his charter rights and the things that are implicated in this process.
He said that the city has spent thousands and thousands of dollars getting ready to raid my place. And the city, the police, with via resources by the city, spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go through my computer and to make sure that if they could press charge against me. So during the investigation, they must have realized that I was on social system. I'm not sure if they knew, but I had no money. Therefore, I can't afford a lawyer. And I am not intelligent enough to talk about my charter of rights. I mean, this is another issue that we need somebody like Steve to explain about my charter of rights. And the police spend so much money to try to put me in court and maybe jail for 2 years. They could have spent a couple more $1,000 to make sure that I had a proper lawyer, and that's the reason we didn't talk to her.
What did you think about today, Charles?
Disappointed? Very, very disappointed, as you've seen at the end. It's been a very emotional ride. Like I said, when you got 8, 10 cops coming to your door, it's scary. I haven't been the same Charles LeBlanc, and I probably never will be. But they made it sound like, oh my God, this poor person has a mental disorder. Do I have a mental disorder? Yes, I have ADHD. 95% of the politicians have ADHD. I mean, what's wrong with that? And they made it sound, oh my God, this poor person. I mean, am I angry? Yes. And I asked Bernard about this double standard policy that you hear me set inside, and the chief never condemned it. And everybody must be treated equally, and I will keep the fight to make sure that happens.
Will you change what you post?
A leopard never changes his spots. If I see something that's not right, I will block. Does this make me afraid of the police force? No. I'm more angry. And then let's not forget, I'm half Scottish, so I love a good fight.
So Charles, by raising the issue of mental illness the way they have, do you feel as if they have further stigmatized the mentally ill?
It was disgusting. Now, I mean, I agree that we should study the issue of mental illness. They're taking people off the street and they put them, I had officers approaching me, telling me, they never used to take people with mental illness and put them in a jail cell for 2 hours and make them sign conditions that is impossible for them to follow. The police must stop this tactic against the poor. And that's why what I hear about the Crown Prosecutor and this mental illness, I'm going to talk to Stephen, and I think we need a provincial public inquiry. There's too many people that end up behind bars because of the, let's not face fact, I was with a blowhole, and I appeared in front of a judge, and I was alone. And Judge Julian Dixon wanted me to sign papers not to be in a corner of Westmoreland and Queen. And I said, I can't sign those papers because I had to go across the Westmoreland Bridge. He turned around and said, you don't want to sign those papers? No problem. In jail for 2 days. Now, if I would have signed those papers, they could have took it, I could have been in the car, the corner of Westmoreland and Queen, they could have arrested me in jail for months. And the bottom line, if it happened to me, what about a person that it happened to that we will never see the day of light in front of the media? And there's a lot of people this is happening to. Wow.
What's it like to cover your own news story? I know it's not the first time you've ever done it, but what's it like to come to your own news event?
Well, it's not, like I said, okay, some people say, okay, it's you. This has nothing to do with me. This is, if it happened to me, what other person did it happen to that will never see the day of light, like I said earlier? But how's it feel to stand there and then ask questions and keep my emotion to myself? I think I did pretty good. As a journalist blogger, I think I did very, very good.
Stephen, what's your last name?
Foulds.
Foulds?
F-O-U-L-D-S.
Monsieur Leblanc, François, pour mes collègues à Radio.
Sorry, Catherine. Yes, you will.
Sorry. Okay, so what I'm wondering is how did you?
Well, quand j'ai entendu parler que la décision de vendre les chars arrivée, quand la décision de vendre les chars est sortie, j'ai lu qu'il allait pas donner trop de responsabilité à la police. Parce que j'étais pas mal Il y a beaucoup de sujets qui n'ont pas compris, qui en est deux. Moi, j'appelle ce site à whitewash. Il y a des sujets qui règlent pas. Comme l'affaire de la police qui travaillait pour bien judiciaire, le sol à la maison, législative. Il n'y a pas touché ça. Puis j'allais qui aurait payé mon avocat. Puis s'il aurait payé mon avocat, je suis sûr qu'ils ont fait leur investigation, qui ont su que j'étais sur bien-être social. Je ne suis pas sur bien-être social à cause que je veux être, mais je suis sûr. Je n'ai pas de l'argent pour fonder un avocat. So, qu'est-ce qui est arrivé, on n'a pas parlé pendant les charter à cause. Moi, je ne suis pas intelligente à parler de mes charter rights. Je ne connais pas mes charter rights. Mais qu'est-ce qui est arrivé, c'est la ville a gaspillé des mille, puis des mille, puis des mille pièces de m'avoir arrêté, puis garder mon computer, puis tout. Il aurait pu waster une couple de $1000, puis m'a volé. S'il y a eu un avocat, je crois que ça s'est arrêté. Mais la way que je vois ça, je crois qu'on va aller à la province du Nouveau-Brunswick pour demander pour une enquête publique, savoir ce qu'il va dire.
Has this made you change your idea of what you were willing to post on your site about other people, including the police?
Regarde, il y a une affaire à bord de Charles LeBlanc, je ne crois pas de montrer. S'il y a un policier qui vient après moi, il est tough, il vient après moi. Si moi je vais le mettre sur mon blog, je vais le mettre sur mon blog. As long que c'est la vérité, ça m'arrêtera. Je suis demi-écossais, je suis têtu. S'il y a quelqu'un qui vient après moi, il faut bien qu'elle après. C'est bon? C'est bon.